Now, I said this was a risk because once you get people talking, it's a little difficult to get them to stop talking, okay? Now, I'm going to need some help from you in the audience right now. Some of you actually came up with a good answer. Is there anyone in the audience that actually has or heard a good answer? I need to see a show of hands. Did anybody hear anything that sounded pretty good? Wow, I got a lot of hands going up. So there are 2 microphones in this room. There is one over here in the center of this aisle, and there's one over there in the center of that aisle. And I'd like to hear from some people in the room. So if you think you have a great answer to this question, can you please run up to that microphone, if we have some volunteers, and let's share with this whole audience what are some reasons that people should be led by. Now look, and now the hands go down, right? And people say, oh, I'm not going up to that microphone. Come on, I saw a lot of hands go up, and if you stood there and shared with everyone, we couldn't hear. Okay, thank you very much for being a brave soul to answer us. Tell us your name and give us the answer to the question.
My name is Brenda Marshall. I'm from Maryland, and the answer that I was given by the person I spoke to was that she feels that and people would want to be led by her because she's there to help them, not hurt them, and help them grow, not help them fall.
Great. Okay, nice answer. So your job is to help others grow, to develop others, as opposed to push others down. Good, great, thank you.
My name is Jenny Bowers. I'm from Madison, Nebraska. We kind of did a work group, since that's what we always do at work. The 4 of us determined that good nursing leaders are listeners to their nurses. They are there for their nurses. They help educate them, help them grow, and above all, teach that sense of putting the patient first.
Okay, so Jenny from Nebraska, I heard a lot of help. Help others grow, listen to others.
And assist them in putting the patient first and having a good patient experience.
Okay, help others with putting the patient first. Thank you, Jenny from Nebraska, very much. Do I have anybody at this microphone? It's hard for me to see.
Hi, I'm Joan McIntosh. I'm from UNC Children's Hospital in Chapel Hill. We 3 of us talked about 3 things. One was leading by example, autonomy, giving our staff autonomy, and the third was giving them the tools they need.
Thank you very, very much. Giving them the tools, being the model, leading by example. Do you have people in leadership roles, and they're in that leadership role, but boy, are they a lousy example, or they're an example of what not to do, right? And we don't want to be that way.
I'm Julie from Alaska, and the nurse told me she listens to her coworkers, and she's there to help them.
And she's very what?
She's there to help them.
There to help them, okay. And listening came up again. Thank you, Julie from Alaska. And okay, there's nobody at that microphone, so.
Good afternoon. My name is Cynthia George. I'm from North Carolina, Southeastern Region Medical Center, who did get magnet designation this past year. And I talked to the lady who says that she would be a good person to want to leave you because she would get in the trenches when you need her.
Get in the trenches?
In the trenches.
Yeah, okay. Get your hands dirty. Be willing to do what you expect other people to do.
Yes.
Right. Thank you very, very much. I think we have one more person.
Linda from Pennsylvania. Remembering your roots and staying humble. So as you rise into the corporate ladder, remember where you came from.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If we had a lot of time, I could have talked to you about some of the best bosses that you've ever had and some of the worst bosses that you've ever had. And those people with the big egos, who know everything, they're probably not the best bosses. Right? But remembering where you came from is critical. Well, I don't know the answer, and I got some pretty good answers from you, but I do know what doesn't make a good leader, or something that's not enough, and it's reading a book. Now, for all I know, there could be someone in this audience that is the author of this book. The title says Nursing Leadership. Right? And books are great, and conferences are great, and talking to other people is great, but the reality is you have to go out there and do things, right? And then you learn by mistakes. Now, the reality in this world is that there's really just 2 reasons you end up in a leadership position. There's 2 reasons. The first reason is you're really, really good at your job. You're really good at your job. You're clinically excellent. You have good work habits. You're responsible. You show up. You do what you're supposed to do, right? You're always there. And then somebody comes along and they say, hey, you know, we're going to promote you, right? And you end up in this management position not because you're a phenomenal manager. The reality is you don't have a clue to manage and lead others, but you end up there because you're really, really good at your job. Now, I said there are two reasons. The other reason is you're born into the family business. And that's about it. So those of you that were really good at your job, now you are where you are today. Someone recognized that, and then they promoted you, and it's up to you to go ahead and to develop those leadership skills. I love this quote. This is one of my favorite from Dwight Eisenhower, who certainly was a phenomenal leader. You do not lead people by hitting them over the head. That's assault, not leadership. Threatening others is not leadership, right? You know, the moms out there, you want your kids to do something and they ask you why, and you say, because I'm the mom, right? Well, that's not how you lead others, right? You have to give them good reasons. So we have these 7 things that we're going to talk about, and the first one is making connections. Great leaders know how to make connections. They know how to develop a network. They know how to do what I call strategic networking. So let's say you're in this leadership role, and there are people that you need to meet. You can actually write the names of the people that you need to meet. And then you think about, well, what would happen if I did nothing? Would these 5 people come find me? You know, probably not. You need to take the initiative to go find those people. So that's being strategic in making the connections. I read a lot, and right now I'm reading a book called A Team of Rivals. And it's a fascinating book about Abraham Lincoln. Now, when Abraham Lincoln was running for President of the United States, he was clearly the underdog. Nobody thought that President Lincoln was going to win. He did have some phenomenal speaking skills. He did work incredibly hard. But everyone that was running against President Lincoln had a better chance of becoming president. Actually, some of his rivals, they didn't work hard at all. They did not do a lot of campaigning because they were convinced that they would get elected to the presidency of the United States. But what happened? Ultimately, Lincoln worked harder than everybody else, and he was nominated president. He was so smart. Lincoln turned around and he gave positions to all of his rivals. He connected with all of his rivals, right? He recognized that these gentlemen were brilliant. He needed their expertise. He needed their support. Now, some of them he was actually he had a very adversarial relationship with, but he looked beyond that and said, I need them. You know, I need that person to be my Secretary of State. So he made connections. Do you make connections? Now, Vegas is a